Welcome back to the MeasureU Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Sauer, and today we're tackling one of the hardest challenges in marketing, which is finding and converting brand new customers. I think we're going to have a lot of fun here defining what a brand new customer is, because joining me today is Scott Desgrosseilliers, the founder of Wicked Reports, and he's helped countless businesses measure what really works with their customer acquisition strategies. You might recall him from a couple episodes ago where we were talking about all kinds of good stuff with Wicked Reports and the 5 forces. And the thing that was most interesting to me was a little knowledge bomb that Scott dropped in that episode, talking about what actually is a new customer and what the ad platforms define as a new customer versus what you might define, and how you can really hold them accountable by using his techniques. And I said, okay, that's a pretty cool technique. I want you to expand on that. And Scott isn't just expanding, he's going all in on this one, okay? So Scott is going to show us why customer acquisition is so difficult right now, what's changed in the past couple of years, and what do we need to know as marketers. So I'm going to introduce you, Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Jeff. Third time's a charm. The other two were charming as well. So appreciate you having me on. And that topic, new customer acquisition, really got my wheels turning, because we had turned into a whole presentation. So this is hot off the presses just for you guys.
I love it. Yeah. So let's get into that whole, what a new customer actually means, and how do we account for it, and how do we get the results we're looking for. I think you have a case study for us. So I'm just excited to see what you have. So let's get into it.
Yes. So we're going to talk about Meta has a hidden bias, and we're going to uncover that hidden bias. Then we're going to figure out how to turn that bias into your advantage and actually grow new customer acquisition profitably. So there's this illusion of success. I mean, you log into your Meta ad account, you might see great return on ad spend, but then you wonder, Meta says we're winning, but often you aren't growing. And you're like in this, made up example on the slide here, 3x ROAS, but you got a flat line on the right for overall revenue growth. And that happens a lot. I mean, everyone knows the platforms can be quite optimistic about their performance. And sometimes it's just straight up measurement malpractice. But in this specific case, we're going to talk about this bias that Meta has specifically. So when the ROAS looks great, but the revenue doesn't grow, the answer lies in how Meta defines success. And also, what data is it learning from and using to determine that success? Because when you see great ROAS and no growth on your customers, of your new customers, that tends to be that Meta's, doing great at claiming credit for other platforms, or it's driving a lot of retargeting success. But what's actually going on is, Meta's not optimizing for new customers. You're paying to reacquire your own customers. Have you come across that at all, Jeff, or in your travels?
Oh yeah, it totally makes perfect sense, right? That you think that you don't even know necessarily, right? You just assume that it's working because you're managing to the numbers you're talking about. Whereas, who knows? Unless you do that deep dive analysis where you're seeing who the customers are and have your customer file, you're just trusting the ad platform.
Yeah. This happens because Meta is optimizing for customer acquisition, not new customer acquisition. And so it wants conversions as soon as they happen, because the algorithm tunes itself quickly. And, if it doesn't know the difference in that you're actually going for new, then it thinks it's doing the job you hired it to do. Mm-hmm. And then and what happens is it slowly learns. There's 3 reasons that this ends up occurring in the platform. The first is, you don't have exclusions set up correctly, which that's on you. You got to, exclude your existing customers in the campaigns that you're trying to acquire new. That's, table stakes 101. Exclude them and make sure it's populating. But what happens, the hidden bias that occurs is that if you have AI advantage audiences turned on, it basically says, hey, we're going to do our best to find audiences that are going to convert, which means it's going to ignore what you set up. It's basically going to ignore your exclusion. And then when it sees those faster conversion times happening from your repeat customers, it's going to focus on them, because it's like, hey, the AI, does what it's told. And the AI advantage audience says, hey, we're going to find people that convert. And lo and behold, so it overrides your exclusions, because that's what you're telling it to do. You're saying, hey, go ahead and ignore my exclusions. Use your AI audience to expand. And then the third one, which is a little more insidious, is certain campaign conversion goals will automatically turn on the AI expansion without you knowing. Like sales, for example. If you say, hey, I want more sales, by default, if you're not careful, it turns on the AI audience expansion, which then ignores your exclusions, which then leads to retargeting. So it's those three things are what's happening that you got to be careful. Just from the get-go, you got to try to make sure, hey, is Meta's AI actually intentionally creating retargeting where I don't want it? So this hurts your growth in 5 ways. I mean, the budget goes to retargeting. Retargeting is great. You must have it. And retargeting is easier. But you already have retargeting campaigns set up. So when you're talking new customer acquisition campaigns, top of the funnel campaigns, or middle of the funnel unconverted people, those 3 things, half your budget at least should go there. And when you think you've deployed half that budget and then you're not hitting your number, part of it is that Meta's actually using these campaigns for retargeting when that's not what your intention was or what your budget allocation was meant for. And then because of this, your new customer acquisition cost rises because you have less budget to begin with. So you have less actual traffic that could be converted into new customers. So your new customer acquisition cost, just because there's a smaller population to convert, will go up, even if you actually might otherwise have great strategy going on there. And then less potential new customer traffic coming in means less new customers converted. And then paying again for existing customers, it's painful. And we see a lot of times we stitch together a customer journey and there'll be SMS and email. They still convert really well. Now you need paid to get them along the funnel, and paid will convert a lot of abandoned carts and things, but email and SMS definitely closes a lot of sales. And then you'll find that Meta is basically having you pay a retargeting tax when you're already closing them there. And then the worst thing is overall business performance, meaning MER or blended ROAS. Blended ROAS meaning take all your ad spend and all your revenue and just divide the revenue by the spend to get just the blended ROAS for the whole company as a whole. If those flatten out, that means you're not growing overall and you're not growing efficiently. And so these are all painful things that can lead you down a long path of optimization of your funnel, looking at your messaging, looking at all kinds of things that you have been doing with your creative, which is a lot of work to produce a lot more creative. Or you may have had a great hook that you loved. You're like, geez, this really should have worked. It's not working. And you scrap a great idea that might have worked. And it's just that the actual traffic coming in is retargeting traffic. So all these symptoms are hurting you.
That's really interesting perspective. And obviously the metrics and the measurement is helping you figure that out. And then also just knowing this with the platform and the settings to push and to make sure that you have them in place.
Exactly.
Sounds like it's pretty straightforward once you discover it, but you also need to really commit.
You do, because Meta measures conversions, but it doesn't know who's new versus repeat. It just doesn't know. Every conversion looks the same. So its feedback loop is focusing on the wrong outcomes. And so that in essence is the issue. So, I mean, it's optimizing towards the fastest possible conversion and your own success at converting the repeat buyers, which, I mean, that means that they want to buy again. That's great. It's, you have a good product and whatnot, but it confuses the algorithm because it's like, I'm trying to get fast conversions. Here they are coming in. I'm going to keep doing that. So it's not necessarily the creative offer or the audience. It's a data problem. It's a data problem that's causing your audience to be commingled. So that's why, as a North Star metric, when you're approaching new customer acquisition, is the new customer acquisition cost. You have that as your North Star, because everything else. I mean, so those high ROASs in the platform, those are great to show off to people. But if the top line revenue isn't growing, that's why you try to get aligned on this as a North Star metric, at least for your new customer acquisition budget. Say I got a new, let's say I'm spending $30,000 a month. 15K is the new customer acquisition. NCAC would be your goal there, your North Star. Because then otherwise, if you're reporting, what happens if you don't do this? Let's say you're a lot of agency people that get involved with measurement. It's a passion. Well, it's a necessary evil or passion if it's working. Once it gets them results, they become passionate. But first, they're like begrudgingly taking us on sometimes. But if you keep reporting great results from ROAS and the ad manager, in the company, your brand, your client isn't getting more new customers or better actual blended ROAS, they're going to start doubting you and start looking around. They have a successful business. They're smart people. You think, wow, look at, we're making 9x in Facebook. Yeah, that's on bottom of the funnel, abandoned cart, or that's Google branded search. Like that's not moving the needle. What moves the needle is more new customers in. And that's what brands want. Generally they're paid. They want overall revenue growth, but they also want new. They're paying for new, not to reacquire who they already have.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't fix this inside of Meta using their existing tools. They need first-party attribution tied to customer IDs. Now there's a bunch of ways to jam up through the Meta default sales conversion event. There's all kinds of tools that can just turn on, like Shopify has one. Apparently it's not that great, but Shopify has one you can turn on and just pump the sales in. But the connection in the data has to allow the segmentation of new versus repeat customer and specific product bundles. That's where we're going to get our edge, which I'll explain in a minute. But with Wicked Reports, we have the attribution operating system. And so there's 3 components to the new customer acquisition puzzle. First is measuring correctly, which means in our case, first the segmentation of new versus repeat, but then also these are verifiable sales conversions and lifetime values included, not just immediate click and buy, unlimited windows, but then signaling the accurate conversions to Meta for the new customer acquisition is critical. Because otherwise you've got the measurement, and I know you guys have talked about this in some of your emails, Jeff, where you're like, you got to go belong, look at this dashboard. Why am I looking at this dashboard? What insights am I trying to get? And what business outcome am I trying to achieve? Otherwise, it's just a cool looking cockpit that as a technical gearhead, we can create those, and then the business is like, whatever.
Yeah, they don't pay attention anymore. Yeah.
They don't, because it's just like more numbers, and they've already been like burned on other sets of numbers that haven't got them where they need to go, which is new customer growth. So the measurement's key because it sets the stage, it sets the baseline, but it also is going to show the improvement accurately. And then the signal is where we're going to tell the platforms to help guide them that they're doing the right job. And then the action, we talked about 5 forces a lot. We'll briefly touch on it today with the AI, is that after we're measuring and signaling, then there's going to be decisions we need to make. And the AI is then going to mine all the measurement data and then the results from signaling to tell us where to shift the budget to continue to create a cycle of new customer acquisition improvement. But you need all 3. You only got 1 or 2, and you can't really fully impact. That's why we built all 3. I built measure first. I was like, oh, great, I'm done. I wasn't done. I had 2 more pieces to go. But now these 3 actually create a self-fulfilling engine, as we'll see in our case study in a couple slides. It's been some dramatic improvement. But I'd argue without all 3, you're not going to get your full potential of scale on Meta. So let's talk about measure first. This is the first party attribution, a breakdown of the new versus repeat customers. So that segmentation is done because we're wired into the sales platforms. So because we're wired into the sales platforms, we look and we see an order, there's 190 new customer sales here from Facebook and 424 repeat. When we got the sale, we decide that Facebook deserves some credit, first of all, and we say, okay, they deserve credit. And then we say, hey, have they ever bought anything before? And if they have, they're in the repeat. And if they haven't, they're in the new. It's as simple as that from the segmentation. The attribution's a whole can of worms that we've figured out, but that's the start. You got to actually have you've got to have the measurements as the baseline, the accuracy, because you don't get it in the ad platforms. But then once you see that, then you're like, okay, now I got work to do. I need more new. Yep. And I need it at a good ROAS. So great. You've measured. Now what? So then that's where signal comes in. Now, accurate conversion data segmented by new or repeat, you can retrain Meta's AI to focus on new. And so the way you want to do that is, and furthermore, you can create specific product events. And why this matters is, let's say you're an e-com brand. Let's just take someone with not even a lot of products. Let's say 50 products, which is probably on the small end of what I've seen. You have 50 SKUs in there. Well, it's hard to create 50 SKUs and all the different hooks and angles that you want, and then all that creative. And then Andromeda decides it likes one specific SKU because it converts really quickly on probably retargeted customers. Well, then all of a sudden, all those other SKUs are getting neglected and not moving, and the inventory sitting there. But furthermore, they might be optimal for new customer acquisition. Like you have products that are more likely than for new customers to buy than repeat. You just go in and look at the data. You look at the segmented data by cohort. So why this is nice is because you can create a campaign specific for new customer acquisition of specific products, then upload just creative for those couple products that are most likely to do well for new customers. So it limits your all the work you got to do, but it also targets the messaging. You don't have to go up and say, I hope the machine figures out the messaging. Well, it burns through 1,000 a day on budget. You can say, well, I've only got these 2 products. Maybe it's summertime sale, and I can just message on that stuff for the summer and just get Meta to learn what new customers like these couple SKUs around summer or whatever I'm doing. And that's a faster feedback loop, and it's less work, more importantly. Both key.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is kind of how you set it up. So here I'm in here and I'm setting up summer seafood specials as my conversion event. And then I'm picking what those assigned products are, actually by wildcard, anything sold by Crab. This is a 10 million e-com company. This is what it looks like. They had summer sale. So they said, I want to try to move salmon because, sometimes you get a lot of inventory, particularly in food. You got a lot of salmon, scallops, and crab to move. Let's do summer specials. And then you go, when you're inside of Meta, you pick that as the conversion event. That's the key thing, because then you can actually chain together a conversion journey. But as I mentioned before, the hooks, the images, it's just a lot easier if I'm just working with crab, salmon, and scallops, just pictures of those, just the reason people buy those, whatever it is around the taste or the freshness or whatever it is, I'm not a hook person. But then this conversion event is what ties it all together, because we're going to measure it correctly. You're going to advertise based on these summer specials. Then we're going to tell it when it's right. We're going to tell Meta, good job, like a dog getting treaties when you're teaching it how to walk or sit or whatever. This is the treaties for Meta to know it's been a good boy. And then the whole point of this cycle is it's going to increase, because Meta has been told, hey, do this. It's going to try to do more of it. So you're going to increase the conversions, and then it will get more efficient over time. And as you tune it based on the measurement results, which means you're going to get more of what you want for less cost, which is the holy grail, right? That's the whole point of all this. So when we've measured and then we've fed the signal, then we're going to get results. Now, normally that starts a lot of effort that you have to go in mine dashboards for insights or to diagnose and improve things. But that's where we added our 5 forces. We talked a lot about that, which was I appreciate I knew you being a frameworks guy. It was a great interview on the framework. So I won't get into that too much here, other than to say, you set the intention for our AI that I want to acquire new customers at a profit. And then you set an acceptable new customer acquisition cost range. And then our AI minds it and tells you what to scale, what you can chill, what you need to fix or kill, or potentially observe if it's not time to make a rash decision yet. So it'll guide you and tell you what to tune up and give you the data as evidence of where the problem is and why it's telling you to do things. It's not a black box. So I know we talked about 5 forces a fair amount.
Yeah. We talked about it. We have 2 episodes where we talked about it. So we'll link to that in the notes as well.
Perfect. So that loop was adopted by this C Bazaar. Now I pasted this over because I just get these results today, October 14th. So they were an Indian, if they are in Indian fashion e-commerce. They sell wedding dresses called saris. So they really need new customers. It's not like you're going to buy a ton of wedding dresses. I mean, there's only so many weddings you can go to. And so he saves now 10 hours a week. And furthermore, now he has confidence to make the budget decisions, the scale, kill, chill that we tell him to do, he can do. But also the team's aligned, which is nice. I mean, marketing, you got battles. You got to talk about strategy. Oh, well, wait a minute. Shopify says this. Well, I was looking in Google Analytics that says this. Facebook says this. Google says this. There's a lot of time wasted in lack of alignment, which is unpleasant. But most importantly, the results speak for themselves on Meta. So they're not spending a fortune. $30,000 a month was with Google as well. But in 30 days, they spent less and drove 50% more revenue attributed from Facebook. But they over doubled their new customers and have the price of new customer acquisition. Now, I can't guarantee these results for anyone else, but these are like, I wouldn't have made up results. I would have been nervous about making up results this good. I mean, I don't make stuff up. Measurement, anyone drawn to measurement is into the truth, so they generally don't make stuff up unless you're one particular platform who market it quite well, fitting. But I mean, this is the holy grail of new customer acquisition right here. And he was an early adopter of this, and he just went all in on all three facets of it. And the results, I mean, they speak for themselves. I mean, this is very meaningful growth from not crazy ad spend.
I think we'd all take those numbers. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was over the moon when I saw them. So, I mean, it's not just better tracking. And that's used to be what we led with and sold until we realized we needed we need the attribution operating system, which we didn't know we needed that. We just knew we have the right data. We need to be able to tell them what to do. Well, if we tell them what to do, but they can't get the platform to do it, they're only going to be so happy with us. So it's buying it's buying a platform to work on actually achieving your business success. It's a feedback loop that compounds. You get results, you have results. We measure them accurately. Then we signal to the platform what to do. Then you take action based on the results of the signal. And then it's this feedback mechanism, measure, signal, action, that creates the new customer acquisition results that we saw for CBazaar. So, I mean, I've never been one to be accused of making things too easy. I normally make them more complicated because I love all the complexity of all the numbers and the trends and the comparisons. But our advertisers, their AI has made some things faster, but it's also besieged people with more stuff. And so what we needed to do was get people from confusion to clarity, because I mean, they're drowning in dashboards with no insight, or the insight's there, but they're not getting the insight. And so this is what it looks like when the data is activated and actually working to scale your brand, not just, hey, the insights are in there somewhere, good luck.
Yeah.
Agencies can now prove their impact with customer level attribution. So they can create the strategy of let's grow new customers, set the North Star, but then have the data to back it up. And then all the pillars of the system that they need to actually achieve that goal, measure, signal, and action. It's a holistic foundational solution to that challenge, not just one piece of it and then it's been lacking like it has been in the past. And then for brands, it's not just about better data. It's a growth tool. It's a tool that's going to grow your new customer revenue, not just and give you control over data-driven scaling. So Meta, I mean, it can perform brilliantly, only when it's measured accurately, has the accurate signals, and then you take the correct action. And so Wicked Reports completes that feedback loop and repairs your data loop. And so if you're feeling these challenges that I mentioned, particularly with Meta new customer acquisition, because the costs are rising, or you just can't even get the data to get the clarity, come see what the attribution operating system can do, because it's clear new versus repeat results. It's accurate signals so that Meta gets trained and starts working for you on new customer acquisition. And then confident decisions where the AI always selects the correct attribution model, mines all the data, and gives you the correct next best step.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Scott. I have so many questions actually, specifically around just unpacking some more on the cold, like the definition of cold and what the business use case around that. So I'd love to unpack that a little bit with you and just ask some questions. So this is the part that it's counterintuitive to what you often hear. I'm from the agency side of somebody who bought media, right? Who ran traffic, and it's counterintuitive a little bit that you would be able to run a new customer acquisition campaign and get better numbers, because generally you want to blend in the lack of performance with some brand terms, with whatever, because ultimately every time I've tried, you try to do cold traffic or brand new things like top of funnel keywords, doesn't convert as well as bottom of funnel. So you have to have those bottom of funnel pieces in there in order to make your numbers look good. And the other thing, the way that I've justified it is like, well, somebody else would get that sale if you didn't. So even though it's your brand name, we have to bid on it to show up, right? Now, I think that's different though. Bottom of funnel and then new customers don't necessarily have to be the same. You could actually be bottom of funnel new customer. So there's like it's almost like multidimensional here. And so the reason why this is effective is because it's not so much that it's somebody who's going to buy anyway. It's actually making it so that people, maybe that person wasn't going to buy again. Maybe they are a new customer or an existing customer, doesn't need to have the same thing, the dress, right? They don't need to have that. They don't need to have this thing. So that's one reason why this can be more effective, is because you don't want to show it to people who aren't going to ever buy it again. It's a one-time use purchase. The other one might be, there's other factors that go into it, right? So is that correct? And the reason why this is important is because there is a point where it's just wrong to advertise to these people because they're not going to turn into an existing customer, or there's some reason why you don't want them included. Because I would have just thought that blending them together would get a repeat customer, would actually pad your numbers. So that's the part that I'm most curious about, is like, how is this? It's the opposite, right? It's not padding your numbers. It's actually making your numbers look better by excluding them.
Yeah. So it's making your numbers better because now with the advances in the algorithm, it's just going to find faster conversions is what it's trying to do. So if you pull that in, you're correct that the new customer acquisition higher costs will be blended in with all the repeats, but there won't be enough net new to move the overall needle for the business. And it can sometimes get extreme. So we have a metric for top of the funnel called new visit percentage, where we make sure the person is true cold traffic, because the cold traffic, Meta's targeting isn't perfect. The match rate is, with our signal product, actually, we can get match rates up to match score up to 9. So it's pretty high, but that still would mean 10% is missing. So that 10% might get retargeted in there. But you have to get the cold traffic up high, because if you blend that in, then you're not going to get enough and your gross revenue stays flat, and then the agency gets sacked. Yeah, that's what happens, because the brands are they're a little savvier now. They're not like all expert brands, but they're like, my revenue's here, my new customers are here. I'm paying you $5,000 to $50,000 a month. I better get them up here. And so when they don't, you can only retarget so many people, unless it's a massive household brand, like if it's Yeti mugs or I don't know, Solo stoves. People that everyone knows, then like everyone already knows. Yeah, then it's just like straight DDC, straight conversion. But I'm talking specifically 5 to 50 million revenue has these challenges the most. In this, maybe down to 1 million even. But I'm gonna come up with a couple dumb analogies, and you can tell me if this helps. So first one I was thinking is like, Facebook system is like a competitive eating person. They just eat whatever's in front of them, and they just need to get it done based on time. So they're just based on speed. It's just there's no discretion whatsoever. They're not even eating for pleasure. They have one mission, that's to finish. And that's sort of like what they're finishing up your budget. Like that's what you're working against. The ad platforms don't care what it is. They just need to get it done. And that's their satisfaction. That's what they're judged on. And then the
So that's just something we're all dealing with, is that these people they don't care. They just need to make the numbers look better, and they don't have that much of a care at all. And then I was just thinking about an analogy that, like, why new customers are so important, and let me know if this one checks or not. So I was thinking, like, I have a kindergartner, my son's in kindergarten, and he say that he's into Paw Patrol. That's the kindergarten thing, and then they get into Minecraft in like second grade, right? You don't want, if you started advertising for Paw Patrol to second graders, there's no way that they're going to want that, right? They're completely past that, and it's actually negative. And so even though they liked Paw Patrol in the past, it does not mean that they're going to be liking it again necessarily. And so sending all, like, but Facebook's going to say, but all my data says that these people like that. And it's like, yeah, they liked that 2 years ago. They don't like it now, right? And so ultimately, there's a reason why you need new people, because you need to feed new people into this
the
discovery engine, right? They need to know that Paw Patrol exists, and they're not going to know that. And then the other ones need to know that Minecraft exists, or Roblox or whatever, right?
Yeah, so you'd send them the Minecraft signal,
yep.
And then in probably third grade, you send the Roblox. Then in fifth grade, you'd send there's a bunch of others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm not an expert yet.
So so you could chain together what they should buy based on the other one. Mm-hmm. Or there's always, out of your 100 SKUs, the first report we send people is new customer cohort, which is, here's what the most common products the new customers buy, only show them this. Whereas before, if you send up 80 products and say Andromeda, figure it out, it may or may not figure it out. It's going to burn a ton of budget while it does, or it may focus on ones you have low inventory or a low profit spread. It's all sorts of risks in letting the machine. So it gives you some control over the results, which you do want. You don't want to give everything up to the machine.
Yeah. And then also, if you feed the algorithm a group of people who have an affinity for Paw Patrol, it's going to be able to deduce then that those are 4 to 5 year olds, that they're, income. It's going to be able to do all the other stuff, right? It knows those. It's going to be able to figure those things out as well. So you're giving it such a strong signal that it's going to go find people like them, and that's way more specific, since you're excluding the people who are no longer in that demo.
Exactly. So it's like laser focused targeting, faster laser focused targeting.
Yep.
And it gets dialed in, and then you see like the Sauers. That's like, I can't believe how good. I knew it was going to work somewhat well for them, but I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Everything's like dramatically in their favor.
And then you can probably, the people who did buy a Sauer, you can do different seasons or different holidays or something along those lines, right?
Oh, definitely. Like ones where one product complements another, this thing sings, because you can do repeat customer events for certain SKUs. So after they buy one, then you can trigger the next campaign, which is whatever your complementary product is.
Yeah, exactly. And by grouping them together, you're giving even more data onto the platform. So you don't have to go reacquire that data. It's already in there. It's already organized. So you have a taxonomy of what success is that you can go and call upon later. Yes. I think it's a brilliant solution. That's really cool.
Thank you. It was a lot of work. So I'm happy to share it.
Yeah. I think you showed just how to separate high performing acquisition from the rest of the people who are out there. It's not ROAS. It's not a lot of the traditional metrics that people are trained on reporting on. It's really, how am I moving the needle? Am I getting new customers coming in there? How does AI impact this, right? As well, just curious, do you think that the idea, like, can AI help even more with what cold is, new customer acquisition? Like the definition of it, is it on the analysis side? Is it in the 5 forces?
Right now, it's on the analysis side, 5 forces, because we segment all the data. Because I have another brand that we're doing a case study with Pinterest with. It's a women's underwear brand, and they're killing it. But their average conversion time is 62 days from first touch, and it's not even that. It's like $100 AOV, but that's just because Pinterest is a discovery platform. It just takes time.
Yep.
But they're getting that results, and so then the AI you have to, first of all, it doesn't understand time. So we have to tell it, hey, use a 60-day conversion cycle. So we got to put that in the code. And then but then it segments out that the conversion of just the new customer, the unconverted to become first-time customers. Because the old days, the conversion rate optimization would be, take your hits, divide by your sales. That's your conversion rate for the day. But really, you got to segment the people and really by the product, because, your your $50 product that's a quick buy and it's a repeat customer, conversion rate might be 4%, 5%, something great. And then a new customer on a $200 product, probably gonna be like 0.8. Something. So but you got to have your expectations aligned, because otherwise, like, the budget people get all skittish, and then they're gonna like submarine or tank your best efforts. But then the AI, coming back to the AI, it knows to segment all the metrics by the new customer, the newly converted new customer population only. So then it'll direct you where there's an issue there, compares against your baselines. So if your average new customer conversion rate is 1%, you're getting 0.6, then you're like, hey, you got to work on your conversion rate. Here's some things we've seen that might help.
Makes so much sense. A lot of wisdom behind that, everybody. A lot of wisdom behind this. And it sounds like you can't do it on your own in meta ads. You do need to have something like Wicked to make that happen for you. And also just, as we wrap up here, this is the third of our series with Scott, and it's just been so fascinating that I keep on saying, hey, can you come back on and teach us things? So we've learned about Wicked Reports, which has the scale chill zones built into it, right? And the 5 forces built into it. So I just love how the synergy happens here. So if you're at all curious about Wicked Reports, Scott, were you saying that there's maybe something that they can do a discount on their first month as part of MeasureU?
MeasureU will get you $100 off the first month, or it'll get you a lot off the 5 forces. It was a big discount, say $700-800 off. You have to check it and punch it in at 5forces.com.
Yeah, so we'll link out to both those.
Punch it in when you buy, or you can just tell the team, and they'll take it off. If you forget to punch it in, we'll still honor it. Don't worry.
That's awesome. Excellent. Well, that's great. Thank you for offering that to our audience and letting them have a chance to go and check out both. I think they work really well in combination with each other. The 5 forces ultimately feeds into the Wicked Reports. And then if you need to get new customers, and that's what your KPI, what it should be, or what you are judged on, but you're having trouble because you're getting reports from your agency about ROAS, I think checking out this technique and putting it in place can really work, especially if you're in that sweet spot. Doesn't have to be a ton of spend, right? It just has to be enough that you can get that value.
You get those 50, Meta likes 50 conversions. So 50 conversions relatively quickly. A week, maybe less. So if you can make 50 sales a week on Meta already, I mean, they could be view conversions technically, although no one loves those.
Yeah.
But if you get to if your spend's already getting you around 50 sales already a week, then it's a fit for the Signal product. If not, it'll take too long it may take too long for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's more like black box at that point.
That makes a lot of sense. So there you go. If you have 50 conversions a week, it'd be a good fit, especially if you're already doing pretty well, and then just getting the configuration in place. Anything else you want to leave us with, Scott?
No, this has been great. I appreciate this has been a fun couple visits with MeasureU. I like being around measurement folks.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think Scott's going to be doing something with our community. If you're part of our community, stay tuned for that one as well. He'll be doing some live stuff with our community, a Q&A. And so, Scott, thank you for unpacking this with us, for helping understand something that's a little bit counterintuitive for the ROAS people out there, but definitely could be the thing that gives you both better looking numbers as well as keeps you retained for a lot longer. And so if you want to get clarity on your new customer acquisition, I definitely recommend that you check out Wicked Reports, grab that special offer, go to 5forces.com as well. Those links will both be in the notes to this video. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well. If you're not already subscribed to the MeasureU channel for more episodes like this, more insights on how you can measure what's working and make improvements based on experience to fix the things that are not working. And we'll see you on our next episode.